Hello and welcome to the ORCA pod, covering the first episode of Canberra Survivor. Canberra versus New South Wales? The world. Canberra versus the world. Here we are talking about it. Cannot wait to get into the episode. If you're watching live, we love to have you here. If you're in the cast, give us a shout out and let us know you're watching live. You will be our special favorites, like Lauren was last week. Lauren was there. She was chatting away, giving us some comments, and now she is the ORCA's personal favorite, whether we drafted or not. So if you want personal favoritism on the show, make sure you watch live and drop your comments. Well, let me bring in my first ORCA guest of the episode, the legend, the one, the only Sydney Survivor superstar, Dani. Welcome to the show. Hang on. Oh. Welcome to the show. There we go.
Hi. It's nice to be back. Good to see you all. I'm excited to get into it.
I am repping the color buff of the tribe that went to tribal. It's the whatever tribe they are, the blue, the world tribe.
The world tribe.
I'll be repping the buff for whatever tribe went to tribal per episode. I've got all the buffs because I give all the monies to all the peoples.
Very nice. Well, good for you, you philanthropist.
Yeah, trying to support these things, and then I get the buffs. Now, Jules will be joining us as well. Last week she had a migraine. This week she's stuck in traffic. Hopefully she'll be here soon. Dani, what are your overall thoughts before we get into the start and run to the end? What are your overall thoughts of the first episode of Canberra versus the world?
Overall thoughts, I'm excited about this season. I was saying before, I love that we, once they were divided and back at camp, we got into the gameplay pretty quickly. There didn't seem a lot of let's just all be friendly. I mean, there's always that, but I was like, let's dive in. We're hunting, we're searching, we're all the things. So it's got makings of a great season.
I also enjoyed that. How do you feel? Let's just start before we get anything. How do you feel about your draft now that you've seen the first episode?
I was worried. Lauren was just she seemed to put some people on edge in the beginning. But the girlies are finding their feet. I'm still feeling good about my draft.
I feel great. Ed's everything that I thought he was going to be.
100%. Ed's everything. Absolutely. And I said this to you before. I was like, that's the one person I was like, oh, I wish I had.
Somehow Andrew has once again pulled the wool over the eyes of these people, and they'll follow him into whatever cliff he leads them. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's done it once again, and I am
He's very charismatic. He's very charismatic.
I also have in the draft, what's her name? Sorry. I have Amy. I thought it was Amy. Amy's, I think, looking really good. I like where she's sitting in the tribe. John, I got as the last pick, and I think he's in a great spot. I was happy to get John over Aiden and over Jay, and obviously that was the right call. Basically, I'm like a soothsayer over here. I called exactly what was going to happen. Yellow was going to dominate. Blue was going to go to tribal, and it was going to be Aiden or Jay.
Very well done. Well read. I mean, you've been doing these for long enough. I should expect that you have a little bit of oomph.
I also feel really good about Anthea as well. She's found a good alliance. She's found her feet. Feel really good. So I'm flying with the draft. Where I'm not flying is the People's Champion. And there's drinks I put up.
Really well out of pocket.
Eden is kicking just as much ass as I expected Eden would kick, and I am concerned about the $1,000 bar tab that I have offered. But, we'll do some more Eden coverage and all the great things that Eden did in the season, as in the episode as we get to it. But now I'm welcoming our third ORCA for tonight. The yet-to-be-seen Melbourne Survivor 4 legend, Jules. Welcome to the show. She doesn't have the name.
Hey! I'm joining from my phone. My Wi-Fi has been shit. I've just got home. It's been a series of unfortunate events. But I am here to cover this episode because it was a good one.
Well, before we get into it, Jules, tell us, you weren't here for the draft. Are you happy with your draft? Are you happy with your people?
I got my top 3 choices.
Yeah. Great.
So did you notice that when I messaged you guys, say I wasn't going to be there, I messaged both of you, but when I gave my list, I gave it only to Dani because I knew CK would gamify it. He would look at it and go, well, this is Jules's picking order, so I'll pick this one. You would have taken Squin away from me if you knew that I had her so high.
I just assumed Dani did that. Who wouldn't do that?
No, I trusted her to have my back.
To be fair, I didn't really have a list, so I couldn't compare it.
I didn't either. That was the problem. I had an idea, and then because it was so last minute that I couldn't be here, I quickly like put them together. But I'm very happy. I think you said it perfectly. I had a very top-heavy team, and then my other two people were the two people.
Don't you have Aiden and Jay?
Yeah, I had the two people up for elimination. But my top three, I've got Sab, I've got Pauline, and I've got Squin. I'm happy with that team. I don't need anyone
I think
else.
Squin's in more danger than I anticipated, to be honest.
Yeah, look, she's going to come through. I feel it.
All right, well, let's get into the episode. Jules, do you have your notes ready and ready?
I do. I do. No, I've got my computer here. It just can't connect to the internet.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, to start us off, I love Dan's flowing locks. He's stolen my look.
Yeah. I was like,
he's got the long hair.
Yeah.
That's how I look with a hat too. It's a good look, the long hair and the hat. So Dan stole my look, and imitation is just a serious form of flattery, and I am incredibly flattered, Dan. So thank you for that.
Even though this was filmed like a couple of years ago now, before you had the long flowing looks.
Yeah, so maybe I've imitated him.
I think you imitated him.
Thanks, Jules. Thanks, Dan. I imitated you. In fact, I do believe he looked a bit. I think he looked like that at Uncharted Waters, perhaps. So maybe I did see a little. Sophie does the acknowledgement of country, which
I love that.
Well, my initial thought was, hang on a minute. I'm not really into white people doing acknowledgements of country. I assume she is Anglo and without an Indigenous heritage. But then when she explained that she'd been taught to do it by a traditional elder, she'd obviously been invited to learn by an Indigenous person. I felt very good about it then. I think the only way it could have been better is if someone had driven her in on a jet ski and then she'd given the acknowledgement of country.
All right. Let's just move on from that. Can I just point out, from the jump, I feel like there's a bit of an othering of the rest of the world tribe. Because like when they're explaining the tribe names, oh, sorry, my dog just wants to be in the shot. They're like, the yellow tribe, you're the Ginninderra tribe, and that means sparkling light. How good's this? Oh, Currawong, you're named after a bird.
Yeah, some sort of bird.
It was very like, oh, yeah, you're the rest of the world.
It is Canberra versus the world. Of course, the Canberrians are going to sparkling diamonds. They're Canberrians. And
then the rest of the world's like, you're just a bird. Good for you.
We covered this in the draft. Dan has deliberately stacked the Canberra tribe to win. They're going to win all the challenges. That was my entire draft strategy. And, it's just the favoritism's been shown off the get-go. Shining light, you're some sort of bird.
My draft strategy, I didn't look at the tribe breakup. I didn't look at anything of that. I just went by who do I vibe with. So, but it just happened that a lot of the people that I picked high were from the Canberra tribe. It just happened that way. And
there's a lot of people to vibe with on the Canberra tribe.
They're good vibes. I like that tribe.
I don't like people wearing sunglasses in Survivor. This isn't Borneo people. Get the sunglasses off. It was banned 39 seasons. No, what's in the more? It was banned 25 years ago in Survivor. It should be banned in LRGs. No sunglasses. Goodbye.
I also don't like black as a tribe color. I'd like all of them wearing black. It opens up a lot of people wearing black with patterns.
Are they the blue tribe or the black tribe? It's sort of
black.
Blue.
Yeah, well, their flag was black.
It's black with like blue. I'm pointing to my now. I'm wearing the thing. It's got blue like highlights.
They're all wearing black. That's more my issue with it than anything else. I think black is also a really good merge tribe color. It's not a starting tribe color.
I know the merge tribe color because I have the buff, but I won't reveal it. I'll keep it a secret.
So you missed that, Jules. He's going to wear whatever buff is going to Tribal Council every week. He's going to wear that buff.
What happens if we get a double tribal? Are you going to wear both?
Yeah, why not?
There probably will be.
The getting into the welcome. This is the off-brand podcast, and we're entitled to criticize the show perhaps more than the on-brand one is, and it went too long. Oh my god!
Absolutely. They did an intro for every single person.
I don't need that at the beginning. I don't need it. We've done the intro videos and we're going to meet them in confessionals. I don't need to meet everybody on the mat.
We watched the intro videos for everyone before we started.
Yeah, well, I did think about that at the time. Well, not everyone watches the intro videos. I wouldn't watch them if I wasn't doing this podcast, to be perfectly honest. Because I prefer to come in completely fresh. I don't do it really for normal Survivor either. But
they also don't do that for normal Survivor either. We don't meet everybody.
No, but you can. You can listen to Rob podcast about it for 3 hours if you want. Like,
you
it's
should
available.
do like 2 people from each tribe at the start. Through the episode, do another one here and there, and then heavily focus on the tribe going tribal, obviously, and then the next episode, do everyone else that you haven't already covered.
I do have some comments from what I thought about, though. Oh, it went for half an hour, but these are my highlights. I liked Ed looked really excited when Squin talked about commentating basketball. You know, he just loves everything sporty.
Love sport, yeah.
I've got in my notes, Ed is the most excitable person I've ever seen.
It's
He's a
like
Labrador.
A puppy, like he's an excitable puppy. Wasn't that what he
I
said?
love him.
He's described him
I
as.
love
He's just
him.
like, yeah.
Yep, and he's all mine, so suck it.
He was the highest male I had on my list.
There's a bit where Lauren looked really unimpressed that Oscar said he was a student. She's like, fucking students, bust you guys, doing all sorts of dodgy shit. Eden, there's an Eden where he rolled his eyes. Eden rolled his eyes.
He rolled his eyes a lot.
But a lot of them, they seem sort of cut in. Like, you wondered if they were actually in the time. And then Squin and Loz get the welcome scrolls. I'm just going to the end here. And is this the first time for Canberra they haven't gone straight to a challenge? I know it's only the third season, but I'm pretty sure it's the first time in Canberra they've gone straight
to a challenge.
Yeah, right.
So
They've had a reward. They had
that.
tug of war last time.
Right.
I liked in the intros the people that were making fun of the theme. Like Ed being like, yeah, good luck the world.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Did
Yeah,
you like
banter
the
from
little-
the get-go. I enjoyed that.
Did we enjoy the Big Brother reference from Liv? The game on moles.
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yes. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I
think a lot of it-
their chemistry, the two of them, is just so fun.
Yeah, they're
I
good. It's
such
just a duo.
enjoy them as hosts.
I love it. They do the best challenge commentary of any of the hosts, I believe.
Yes.
I agree.
It's just one of the harder thing to do. Well, what do you got in your notes, Jules? You take us through it.
So we do all the intro, and I've got a note. Like, we don't need this long. We've talked about that. And like when they said, "All right, someone from each tribe take a scroll," we saw a bit of hesitation. I am not taking that scroll if that's me. Like, someone else can do that. Nah, I'm not doing it. But yeah, I said Lauren's grin. And so we go to the yellow tribe. Lauren's reading the clue out loud. Everyone knows from the get-go, this is a clue, this is something. She's emphasizing certain words. But the first thing I noticed is that she kept the scroll. And that was a mistake. You hand that out. Make sure everyone can look at it. No, I'm not keeping this. And then she goes into confessional. Yeah, I've got it here. Bad idea.
Andrew absolutely ate her alive with this.
He
later
didn't
on.
like
Pain
that.
for her, for sure. Yeah.
Did not like that. Well, do we even know what was written on there? Was she telling the truth? I mean, if you can come up on the fly with something written on a scroll, good for you. I don't think she's that good.
With everyone coming around you. Yeah.
But still, other people want to physically see it. They want to look at it, see if there's anything they've missed out on.
Yeah.
There was equally a part, though, where, and I don't know if this was the editing or in the real time, in the first instance of reading the scroll, she did not tell them that C was spelled S-E-A. And then at a later point,
she was like, C.
She's like,
but later on, though, she
Yeah.
admitted to the spelling. And I think this was a mistake. I thought it was a little bit crafty initially, but then when she then tells them later it was spelled differently, you know, I would have actually probably not said it. Let them look at the note. If one of them points it out, I'd say, "Oh, I didn't even realize that." You know, people might not believe you or not, but you have some plausible deniability. Andrew could have eaten her up some more with that, and honestly, the C clue was useless.
It was all just go to water, which they kind of figured out anyway. As like the well was enough for most of them.
Oh yeah, I was like, well, as soon as I said well, I was like, I don't need any more. I'm going to the well.
I'm going to the well.
I'm going to the well. Yeah.
The C would have confused me.
Yeah.
Like I
would have overthought that for sure.
Salt water, what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah. But then we see Lauren, Pauline, and Sab, which like loving that trio, 2 of my picks. And I wanted Lauren as well, but you know, I had to make cuts somewhere. They go over together looking in the well on the top. Everyone leaves. There's Sab, my winner pick, doubles back and finds the clue. But she doesn't get a chance to open it.
Then my champion, Ed, does something that I've never seen anyone do before because he's never watched Survivor, so he has no actual knowledge of how to play the game. He's just doing what he thinks is right. He sees her find the clue. He doesn't confront her about it. He just decides this is someone I want to align with because they've got something. I don't need to
Yeah.
know what it is. They'll tell me at some point. Who cares?
I-
But they've got the thing, so I might as well try and be their alliance. And he then starts building a bond with her, and because everyone loves him, she's like really into him right
She
away.
ate it up. She was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's giving me really
I do
good
hope there
vibes."
was a conversation there that we just don't see,
Why?
because that's what you should be doing.
No, I like this strat. I like this strat of not calling her out for finding it.
Not publicly, but I would say privately go up to her, hey, I saw you got that scroll. That's awesome. We can, like, you tell her that you've seen it so that she doesn't try and hide it, but also do it in a way that's like, great, I want to work with you anyway. We can use this together.
Yeah, that's Survivor 101. We've seen that before. I like what Ed's showing me completely fresh here because there's a risk of doing that. People react badly to it. Oh, you saw me. He's calling me out. He saw me say it. Maybe he's going to tell the rest of the tribe, I can't trust him. I'll get rid of him. Plus, you know when she actually trusts you or not because eventually she might tell you about it. If she never does, then she probably doesn't trust you. So you've got an actual like cornerstone to base on whether this is a real thing or not. I'm not think Ed's thinking about all these things, but I'm thinking about them for him. And I love this strategy. It's completely
I loved
fresh.
it too. I thought
Really
it was fabulous. Yeah. Although, like, it's funny that she didn't clock it. I mean, you obviously don't know the angle of where they're at, but like the amount of times he looked back at her while she was like either got it or after she got it, I was like, if I'm finding that scroll, I'm like eyes on everybody, eyes on me. I'm like, who's clocked me? Who's like, so it's interesting as to whether there was, double vision there or not.
But we have to assume that what she got was a similar thing to what Anthea got, where she's got to say something at tribal. So I guess we don't need to see that this episode since they don't go to tribal.
Yeah, I'd say it's the same thing. I'd say she has opened it in a confessional, and we didn't see it in the episode because it wasn't going to just.
We don't need
time.
it.
Yeah, we'll see it when they do go to tribal.
Yeah, but if her and Ed are a duo, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was because I don't have it in my notes, but when Ed was talking about that if he gets voted out, he's going to be very emotionally scarred from it. And I'm like, good on you for self-awareness.
Yeah, we like a self-aware.
I think a lot of people go through that and aren't aware that it's about to happen. So good for him.
Or that it will hurt.
That it will hurt, yeah.
I have a great quote. I have a great quote from Oscar here, and I have no idea what it was in relation to, where he said it's two sides of the same gender reveal.
That was the hats.
Oh, the hats.
Him and Pauline have the exact same
They both had the bucket hats. Yeah, I like that.
I like that. That was a really good quip. It was fun. It was entertaining. Good to come up with these things on the spot. Nice one, Oscar.
Yeah, one thing about Oscar oh, sorry, go Dani.
No, I was saying I like for the most part the confessionals were quick and quippy. I didn't feel like bored. Like the only part I felt bored to the episode was the very beginning, meeting everybody. For the most part, I really enjoyed meeting everybody in their one-on-one confessionals. I thought it was quite fresh and fun.
Yeah, and when there's a little joke here and there, as opposed to, "Hi, I'm Jules. I'm 36 and I'm a train driver." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I'm not actually 36 yet. I just realized. But anyway, but no, one thing about Oscar because I wasn't here last week, I noticed in his intro video, he is very, very aware of the fact that he is a lot younger than everyone else.
Yes.
And that he is going to have to prove himself to be somewhat mature. Yes. And so I like that. Like, if you're younger than everyone else, that can be an issue, but he knows that it's going to be an issue, so he can address it. I like that.
Yeah, agreed.
So then we see Andrew doing his thing about upset that, Lawrence held onto the note, hasn't showed it. He's sitting down at his angle and he can see something through it. Is that something? I don't know. But hey, everyone else, Lauren should have showed us this clue. And then Lauren comes back and he's like, oh, can we look at it again? And she hands it to him. Like, here you go. Yeah. Good call. Should have done that from the beginning. And then I noticed they laid it out. Everyone step back. Everyone can see it. No one's doing anything funny. Everyone just look at it.
Yeah, no funny business.
Yeah, nothing to see here, folks.
Well, they're also hot and high alert because Andrew's just fucking pointed her out. So they're like, no one's going to then suddenly take possession of the scroll after he's just had his committee meeting with his little, new friends. No one's going to then take possession of that scroll again because they're like, this guy is coming after people.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I also enjoyed Andrew's absolute shade on the versus the world tribe, the rando bird tribe. These out-of-towners, these carpetbaggers.
It's very much us versus them.
Yeah, but like he was exactly that out of towner carpetbag in Canberra exile. So in backyard exile, I thought it was deliciously ironic and
Yeah.
two-faced.
It's not like he's Canberra born and raised. He's a Johnny come lately to Canberra.
Is he? I
Yeah.
don't know. You know,
So
this is
there's
a-
somebody else there who's was a Queenslander, another
There's
Canberra.
a few that have only recently moved to Canberra. They're not all born and raised there. So, but it's not. No, we live in Canberra now.
Andrew's, I think, been in Canberra for a long time.
I feel like he has only recently moved there, but maybe I'm.
Now he
confusing him with
crewed on
someone
like
else.
season 1 of this.
Okay. Maybe
Yeah,
just because I know he's from backyard. Maybe I assumed he lived in Perth
Yeah,
first.
I think he's been a friend of Dan's for a long, long time.
Okay. Well, I'll take that back then. But still. Yeah. Anything else that you guys noticed from the yellow tribe before we go to the black tribe?
No, that's all I've got.
Okay.
All right,
we
off
go
to
to
the
the black
rando
tribe.
bird. Off to the rando bird tribe, as they will forever be
Yeah.
known.
So we get.
Hey,
Squid-
Pauline is here.
Pauline's here.
Yeah, okay, we're
Pauline's
scanning
getting
you now,
brownie
Pauline.
points.
Where's Pauline in the draft?
I picked her as the second pick. I was
Yeah.
tossing up between her and Sab as my winner pick.
I think Pauline's great, and she's one of those sides of that gender reveal joke that we mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that with first pick and then not getting to pick again until pick number 6, I managed to still get her in the draft. You guys suck.
Yeah, but that's because. Well, hey, look. Ed's a must get, and I have to be on the Andrew ride. I don't know how it's going to go, but I can't not have Andrew. So
Yeah.
yes, Pauline was definitely one because Pauline has that understated effectiveness. I think that people won't realize what a threat she is until she's already like taken.
I think
them
I
out.
described her as a fun nerd.
Especially because there are like so many strong female characters in front of her. They're not going to look at her quickly.
No. She's going to play a good under the radar game.
Okay, on to the rando birds.
But yes,
What they
the
got
other black
going on?
tribe. So we've got Squin reading the clue, and she's gone a very different approach. She's very like, oh, C-S-E-A. Am I reading too much into this? Like, is this a clue? Like, I think she approached it the best way you could. We see the whole tribe going off together to go look. They're like, yeah, we all think this is a clue. Let's all go look together. Which, yeah, no one wants to split off from the main group when you've just got there.
Especially when you know there's a clue.
Yeah.
We're doing this together.
Everybody's going together.
Yeah.
There was a funny little montage of everyone trying to remember what Squin's name is and trying to say it. I enjoyed that.
That was fun.
Yes, everyone loves Squib, but no one can get her name right.
Yeah.
Some people were calling
I
her
love
Squib.
the story though. It's just Squinter. Like it's just why not?
Oh, look, we said it on the draft. She's incredibly lovable. I'm sure everyone is going to love her. It doesn't really matter that she's not in the numbers alliance. She can still be 5th. But what I called it last week. I said Eden will form an alliance with. I said the 4 women. It's only 3, but it's enough to make it work. Eden's going to form an alliance with the 3 women. Now it sort of happened more organically than I anticipated. Because they all just happened to, the 3 women found the advantage and Eden saw them and just rolled in. He's like, okay, let's make this happen. Let's go.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder, would he have been included if they hadn't spotted him? I think yes.
I don't know. I don't know for certain. I don't know if they bring him in on the advantage, but it doesn't mean he got brought in the advantage because he was there. Whether they might align with him or not, I don't know. But we know that's the sort of alliance he was looking to make. He wasn't looking to align with John and Aiden. So it would make sense that either way he ends up with them.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, they open an Anthea has to say, what in the world 5 times at Tribal? When I first watched it, I thought it was at the challenge.
Same.
I think we had Beware Advantage in our heads. We had season 41. Goats on Astro.
Yeah.
So I just knew, and I was like, how is she going to do that? But then when they said it's that Tribal, I'm like, okay, that's much more doable.
I actually think that they got this 100% perfect, which is difficult for a trial and error concept like this to some extent. I thought it would be easy. I don't think it was as easy as I thought it was.
No.
And it was really enjoyable to watch it as a viewer. Yes. Seeing if she'll get the number with the counter.
Yeah, the counter, so great.
I don't think she would have been able to do it without Eden's help.
That's what I was saying. Eden had already talked about how he was going to provide that help. That got her an extra one. Like, there's how many times can you say it in your 30-second answer, right? So Eden's one, and then one little one at the end, which made perfect sense. If I was her, the one thing I would have been doing is just saying it around camp a little bit more before the tribal.
Yeah.
Like, this is just my catchphrase. This is what I just say all the time.
100%. You'd have to, because otherwise people are gonna be like, why is she suddenly saying that?
And it'd be like, wait. And even if someone called me out on it, I'd say, well, it's like my catchphrase, because we're the world tribe. What in the world?
Agreed. Yeah.
But I do like this as terms of it's not about where you're not going to lose your vote, but hey, if you don't get it done, the advantage is going back. Someone else will get it, and they won't have any strings attached. So it's all right, I've got to do this, but there's no consequences if I don't.
Yes.
So I think a beware advantage is probably a bit too hard in LRG because you don't have that much time.
Yeah.
When you're out there in Fiji, you've got 24 hours at least to think about how you're going to work this in. When you've got 10 minutes before the challenge, it's too hard. But I think this is a good way to do that.
And we don't love the idea of losing a vote. That's all owning your vote in Survivor is so important. So in an LRG, when it's so quick to lose a vote, is such a big. Hey, they're all coming out to play today. Anthea.
Hey, Anthea's here.
Oh, she was yelling at the challenge.
So she had made it a catchphrase. There you go. Why did everyone think it was at the challenge? You guys thought it was at the challenge? Anthea thought it was at the challenge? Well, Anthea, I've drafted you, and I think you did fantastically. So incredible, good job. I hope this advantage is worthwhile. I like the alliance you're in. I know
what the advantage is. I think that's next episode. We'll find out.
I think it's probably going to be mediocre.
I feel like maybe it'll be I don't think it's an idol, but it might be a steal a vote, extra vote.
Steal a votes and extra votes are mediocre, and it's in class.
I wasn't disagreeing with you. But I don't think it's an idol. It's more the point. Because it's advantage.
Well, what about idols? Does the People's Champ have an idol? Is that an idol or just something he took off the flag?
It's not an idol.
I think it's an idol, but I'm curious if it's something.
I think he can convince people it is.
Oh, you can absolutely convince people it is.
Even if it's a bit of plastic.
It's not an idol? Why do we think it's not?
Because he doesn't have any. I mean, look, there might be something that's found later to say, hey, take this off. But I think if it was going to be something and he doesn't have a clue or the paperwork or anything for it, someone would have stopped him from taking it.
What do we think about Dan telling us he's got an idol without a question mark then on his little subtitle?
There was a question mark.
Oh, there was a question part?
There was a question mark. I looked closely.
Okay. I missed it. So it was a former federal agent or Simon with the cookie. Simon with the cookie idol situation. It was a question mark. Okay, all right. So that makes you think it's probably not an idol.
Not.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is. But I like that Bethany was like, I want that.
Super idol. Because there's another one on the other tribe. On their flag. There's another one on the other flag. I know, it's more fun. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We know Canberra.
I like when there's props hidden around that looks like they could be something and they make people overanalyze. I want to see them suffer and try and work out what shit is. There is nothing to be worked out.
I think the value, as you said, though, is even if it's not an idol, I think there's the opportunity for Eden to suggest it is. Yes. I think some I believe, was it Aiden had spotted that it had been removed, or Jay had suggested to Eden that it might be something. It was one of those two. I think it was Aiden, and that was why Eden was targeting Aiden, because he didn't want to be exposed. But, when people are already talking about this thing, it would be very simple to say, oh, yeah, I've got an idol. Where'd you get that from? I took it off the flag. And they're like, oh, how'd you know that? Oh, I found a clue that told me to do it.
Yeah.
Can I see your paperwork? And I just got rid of that. I like
that we had... No, go.
Sorry. No, you go.
I like that we had Bethany being like, oh, I couldn't get it off subtly enough. And then Eden's like, yoink. Do you want help with the flag? No, I got it.
It helps when you carry the flag and be last. The other thing I thought Aiden, who we knew from his intro videos, is not the most social person and struggles in meeting new people. I felt that you draft him, Jules. I felt that his strategy for
You try putting 16 people in order with a migraine. I knew where my tops were going, my bottoms in. I was going to sort of decide on the fly, and I couldn't do that. So
I felt that his strategy, though, of he's aware of his weakness, and he made sure he found one or two of the more social people that he felt he could connect to, and to rely on their ability to then make other social bonds while he builds a strong connection with them. He chose John and he chose Squin, which are great choices from a social point of view. If it wasn't for the fact that they'd already been outnumbered and outmaneuvered by a group of 4, that's actually a really fantastic 3. And it is, in fact, that relationship that he built with John that absolutely saved him in the
100%.
final for the Tribal Council, which we'll talk about when we get to Tribal Council. But I feel like he did a very good job to build a strategy around an acknowledgement of his weaknesses and how to manage around them.
Yeah, I thought he did really well, like, for being socially limited. Like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be because of that. Because he, like, linked in people he felt comfortable enough with and let them do the hard yards. I thought it was a lot. He did better than I thought.
Mm-hmm. An alliance of 3, it will never give you the majority. That's, yeah, definitely. But I think an alliance of 3 feels a lot stronger than an alliance of 5. So if they had managed to have their 3 alliance, pull in 2 more people and have the numbers, that's a really good strategy. Now, as it turns out, I think it won't work out well for them because they're going to go in 3 or 4. But if they, if that was their strategy, I think, a group of 3 feels like when you're in it, that's so much better than a bigger group.
Yeah.
And I feel that 4 is really strong. Does anyone have anything else on the Rando Bird Tribe before we go to the challenge? Jules, tell us all about the challenge.
So one of my things with Canberra, and Backyard do it too, we don't need reward at every challenge. It's 2 days. Make them starve a little bit, okay? This is Survivor. We don't need tea and coffee. I love my caffeine, but I don't want them to see them having tea and coffee. But anyway.
I get it like the second day morning, like as like a reward.
Yeah.
Like you've done the full day, camped overnight, you're kind of hungry, you'd love a coffee in the morning. But not the very first challenge when you've like been there for maybe an hour.
They just got there. They probably, if they're smart, they got brekkie and coffee on the way.
100%.
Also, like it's like espresso, like Nescafe.
Yeah, it's instant. It's not like
in a cup. Like,
maybe I'm a coffee snob, but if it's not like a proper latte, I'm not really that interested.
As a Melburnian lesbian, I reserve the right to be the biggest coffee snob here. So,
okay, all right.
Anyway, so we get like one person on a balance beam, they got to unhook, and then the grappling hook, and then they got to do a word puzzle. John absolutely cheated. His feet were on the ground the whole time.
Oh, most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, they kept warning him, and I was like, when is he going to be penalised here? Because it's consistently keeps happening.
Lars is doing it properly. She's fully on the balance beam. He's kneeling, and his toes are touching the ground the whole time. Like, no wonder he got off there first.
Look, Canberra has a history of controversial challenge calls. It looks like it's not something they improved upon. Do we all remember the Dom situation that we got into? Dom calling the it was like the second challenge of the second season. He called someone and lost when they clearly had. Anyway, there's all sorts of things going on in Canberra, and I felt that there should have been more of a penalty. It didn't matter; they didn't win, but there should have been more of a penalty on John.
They got out in front, so they could have won because of John's cheating. But anyway. So when they're doing the grappling hook,
and Sam Green agrees.
Sam Green, who of course had the
high integrity. So if he calls a cheat, they're a cheat.
Absolutely.
Sam Green has considerable experience playing in poorly managed challenges in Sydney Survivor.
Look, he benefited from it, but that's okay. It wasn't.
He makes his own quality podcast, but he agrees with us. Sorry, I interrupted you, Dani. What did you say about cheating?
No, I was just saying, I was like, Sam Green, king of moral character and above repute, is calling it a cheat. So it's a cheat.
I'm not calling John a cheat. I don't think he was deliberately trying to cheat. I don't think he was deliberately trying to do the challenge incorrectly. I think in the heat of the moment, he's just trying to get it done. He's a big guy. But it's on the crew to be calling out that if that's a rule of the challenge, to be calling it out properly and to be enforcing the rule better.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely. But when we go to the grappling hooks, one thing I noticed is that the yellows, they went for the furthest ones away first, and the blacks went for the closest one. And I think going for the furthest one away is better because you might accidentally drag the other ones a little bit closer on the way. You can only get one at a time, but the closest one was like this far away from the line. It was not far away. And so they just like drop it and drag it across. But if you can get the furthest one first, it's going to take you longer, but you might bring everything else a little bit closer. So I think that was a really good strategy by Yellow, and that's why we see them get to the word puzzle first.
Yeah, and that was my strategy as well, furthest away first.
And I think they coordinated in discussing. Look, it seemed a bit gendered, but like if we put that to one side, let's say they coordinated as to who felt they were stronger at the potential grappling hook activity, and the ones that they didn't do it in order, as you said, they did it in, well, I think I'm going to be good at this, so I'm going to go for a further one. That's a good plan. That's a good strategy. You might have someone in your tribe that doesn't feel confident with the activity, but they need to do it. There were ones that were literally like a foot away from the rope. They can do that one.
Yeah, easy. That's just like from a drop. You just put your arm across and drop it and bring it back.
I have no hand-eye coordination. I could have done that.
Yeah, but that's good. That you could have said that there, and that could have been yours. I feel like Yellow coordinated better, and they absolutely smashed the puzzle like really quickly. I don't think it was difficult, but they really smashed it.
The black team hadn't even opened their puzzle pieces.
No, I looked away for a second. And it was done. I was like, what?
What was the phrase again?
The world is ours.
The world is ours.
I think they had is ours first, right? Didn't they? Before they had the world is.
I think when you're doing those kind of things, you already have an idea of what sort of words to be looking for. If it's in the name of the season, if it's opening challenge and you're playing for Flint, you're looking for fire, that sort of thing. You've got an idea, so you can solve it pretty quickly. Yeah,
and you're opening that up and you're seeing the letter W, you go world. Like that's the first word I'm putting together is world. If there's a W in that, it's world. Like that's the first word I'm going to try to put together.
Yeah. I think if you're designing a word puzzle, you need to come up with other words that it could be. If there's an anagram of survivor in there that's not the answer, great. Or even something that's close enough to survivor. That's what people are going to see.
They then finish the challenge. Big success. And then we get the peak of this episode, the what you want to be the peak of any Survivor episode, the straight chat into the tribal. What a fantastic start to this season to have such a dynamic, social and strategic play amongst so many different great players and characters. Now, I'll talk about the tribe. We'll talk about the tribal bit, which I don't think was properly managed in a Survivor sense. But the general strat, what a fantastic outcome, because these bonds have formed. This strong 4 and this strong 3 have all formed without anyone realizing that the other one has formed. So then they're throwing names out to people that you shouldn't be throwing names out. Like, there's a moment where...
It was the equivalent of like, CK, me saying to you, I want to vote for Max.
Yeah.
Like, that's just... But I don't know that that's not the person I should be throwing it out to.
Like, Squin immediately suggests Bethany, and Maddie's like, really?
No.
Like, really? And then Eden comes in and he's like...
Jay both say they want Eden, and it's like, yeah, no, good luck with that.
Yeah. But I just like the bit where, Squin's like, what about Beth? And like Maddie's like, no. And then Eden comes in and is like, no, we're not doing that. Like, that's not happening.
They do it very diplomatically to the point where she doesn't feel like she's, again, being like trod on.
Yeah.
They're like, they come in and like, oh, mate, like, I kind of vibe with her. Let's like, rather be like, no. Which, like, you kind of get into that deeper realm once you're tired and things. But they manage that very well to make her like turn on her head about that decision.
Yeah. We get, John throws out Eden's name, gets no traction. Jay's name's coming up. He hasn't been connecting. Aiden's name is for the same reason. We see Aiden talk about, I wasn't great at the challenge, but Jay was worse, so I'm going to throw him under the bus. We see, do we want Jay? Do we want Aiden? I don't think anyone actually knew which way the vote was going to go when they went to tribal, and that was evident in the vote.
Yes, well, we get it. Do we want to talk a bit more about this, or do we want to get to the vote?
I think we can get to the vote straight away. We
Well,
already talked about the what in the world counter on the screen. But I think I would like to say, I don't think she did it too obviously. I don't think anyone would have picked up, if they didn't know what they were looking for, you wouldn't have picked that up. I'm just going to get my phone charger real quick. You guys keep talking.
Well, the big issue that I identified here at the tribal council that I thought was very, very interesting was that Maddie voted for Jay. I got that right? No, Maddie voted for Aiden or Jay. I need to do the notes. She voted for.
Hang on.
Which one did Maddie vote for?
So
She said she couldn't.
Maddie voted for
couldn't
Aiden.
swing the votes.
So Bethany, Anthea, and Maddie all voted for Aiden, but Eden voted for Jay.
And Jay.
And Jay, yeah, sorry. Obviously, Jay voted for Aiden, and Aiden voted for Jay. But
when she cast her first vote for Aiden, she says, "Sorry, I wanted this to be, Jay, I suppose, but she couldn't swing the numbers." But she could swing the numbers. The numbers were there.
Yeah.
And
Eden votes for Jay, saying, "Oh, well, my target was actually Aiden, but the votes are going to Jay."
It's so
their
interesting.
alliance hadn't worked out what they were doing.
Or was it that, as you just maybe I'm thinking about now, just as you put it forward, it was Maddie, Bethany, and Anthea that were voting for Aiden, and Maddie wanted to vote for Jay. Maybe it was she said she couldn't get the numbers, but what she actually meant was she couldn't get Anthea and Bethany to agree to voting that way.
Yeah, so she wanted to stick with her alliance. Yeah, that would make sense.
Because the numbers were there, they were just on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's the tricky part when you do these first votes, because you want to prove a trust very quickly, even though you have a certain target in mind. So when it's a very split vote, you kind of want to. It's a hard line to draw. Like, do I vote who I want to go, or do I vote with my alliance, even though we may not get what we like, just to prove trust? Because I know it's not me, right? In that point, they're kind of there's two main targets. What's my biggest factor here? Getting my target right, or building trust with these brand new people to prove that we're together.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the people's champion has no interest in building trust.
Eden's vote is in his confessional. So I actually wanted to vote for Aiden, but the numbers aren't there. So he'd obviously not understood what was going on and voted for Jay.
That one's the most confusing. We can understand and rationalize the one for Maddie, but Eden's entire alliance were voting the way he wanted to vote. Oh, look, these things happen very quickly. We know this. Maybe the vote was on a hinge and then he went to a confessional, came back, and he never got time to really check in what was happening. Though you think one of his core members would have given him a nudge and said, it's going to be, it's going to be Aiden now, which is what Eden wanted in the first place, because Eden had called him out, or at least privately, about pulling the thing off the thing.
Yeah. And then on the revote, we get Maddie change her vote from Aiden to Jay, but Eden also changed his vote, so we end up in another tie.
I see how that happened. It wasn't coordinated.
I'll switch my vote, no problem.
Yeah,
but then two people do the same thing.
And then we get to what I was calling out controversially.
I agree.
In terms of how unanimous voting or ROCs is supposed to work. There's supposed to be a discussion.
Yeah. They said it was Aiden and Jay giving their pitch of why they should stay. And then Dan
they did that before. They did that before the revote.
They did it after as well.
Okay.
Because they had the discussion. Aiden and Jay say their piece, and then Dan just goes one by one. And he started with John. John, who are you voting for? And I think,
and by doing that
gives whoever John says is probably going to happen, because anyone else either has to agree with that or go to rocks. So I don't know if this is an editing issue, or I understand that they have time constraints. They need to get these tribals done quickly, but it needs to be a unanimous decision in the group themselves, not just whoever John says is going to go, or they go to rocks. And if you go to rocks, if you got a time limit, say you guys have 5 minutes to come up with the unanimous decision, or you're going to rocks. But don't ask one person who you want to go.
You're absolutely right. And the relationship that Aiden had formed with John that we mentioned earlier came into absolute effect here, with John and John doesn't look like a person to be easily moved either. So I think his voice would hold a bit of weight. And he says, I want to keep Aiden. And that just locks it in. Even when it gets to Bethany, she says, I'm not interested in going to Rock, so I'll go with that. You're absolutely right. I don't think it changes the outcome because I don't think there's anyone here that's going to bat for Jay, whereas you would have Squin and John going to bat for Aiden, and for the other 4, then what do they care? So I think that it doesn't make a difference, but I do feel that the way it was approached, which is not how they would approach it on actual Survivor, slanted the outcome.
100%.
Yeah, you don't do the whole. You have to ask everyone if they agree with that, but it's after you can tell that. Yeah, all right, we'll go for John. All right, so we'll go for Jay. All right, you're going for Jay. Confirm. CK. Yep. Dani. Yep. But yeah, they didn't even really seem like they had a discussion.
No.
John just called it, made his call, and everyone sort of had to go with it because it was that or Rocks.
And sometimes you'll get someone like a John who has a strong personality, as you said, who might have just said, you know what, either we're voting for Jay or we're going to Rocks because I'm not voting for Aiden. And if that happens and he says it like that, then that might have been enough to sway it, but we didn't see it.
Yeah, and I'm fine with someone doing that, of course. That's the whole strategy of the Rocks.
Yeah.
It was just that he was specifically called out by the host, by Dan, saying, John, what do you want to do? And it just set the scene. Now, look, I guess if there'd been someone there particularly attached to Aiden, particularly attached to Jay, then that person might have said, hang on, no. But it felt like, from my point as a viewer, and I don't know how the contestants felt at the time, they have to tell us if they're here in the chat, that if they said at that point, no, I don't want to vote for Jay, that would have caused Rocks. Like that was the definitive position.
There wasn't a discussion to be had.
Yeah.
And that, if that's how you felt at the time.
There we go, on the other chat.
Okay. It was confirmed on the other show, which of course, we don't watch. The
fact that he was a host on is ridiculous. But anyway,
deliberation was a lot longer than was shown, but they just left out the discussion and showed the decision. So anyway, okay. Look, I think that's understood and good. That's good. But I would actually say, to the creators of any of these things, that you probably want to include a bit of that because you won't have people like us just ripping your show to shreds. But
also from Aiden's perspective, is he, does he hang on just because he's got an alliance with these 2 people? Was there a bunch of people that say, no, I really want Jay to stay? We don't know. So
yeah, I don't know the actual specific stances of the individual players. Yeah,
and I mean, I don't think Aiden's lasting that long anyway. If this group goes back to tribal, rip my fantasy team, but I think it still matters for his character development.
Well, let's do a bit of that now that we've finished the coverage and
Jay's not out. The swamp of sadness.
Jay's not out.
Yes, I know. That's why we're done. I don't have an interview lined up because he's still in the show.
So how do we feel about that? Like, what are your thoughts?
I don't like that the battle back was announced at tribal. You should know that going in because that can affect how you're going to vote.
What they announced? Sorry, maybe I was watching this late and after a few drinks. So you're saying that they announced?
They did not announce it. Like it was Jay. Yep, it's been decided. By the way, you're the first one out of this tribe, but you're not first out of the game. You're going to Swamp of Sadness. You're going to come back. You had a chance to come back in the game. They didn't.
No,
know
I like
that.
it. I'm into it.
I don't like it when players don't have all the information. Like I hate
I like it.
In HHH when the forced fire was just told at the last minute.
This is a forced fire.
I know, but like it's in that same thing. I think you should know what you're up like because that would affect how you're going to vote. Not only how you're going to vote, but how you're going to approach the vote.
Yeah, but I think this tribe everyone was in the same boat. The other tribe will be in the same boat when they go to tribal. It's better as a viewer. It's more interesting as a viewer. There'll be more content now about, we could have done that differently if we knew he was going to come back in the game. Like, I feel like it's from a viewing perspective, from a television perspective, it's better. And I don't think it's remarkably unfair on anyone.
Yeah.
It might be unfair on all of them, but it's not unfair on any of them.
Yeah.
But like, Dani, how would you have felt if after John Tan gets voted out, oh, by the way, he might come back? You didn't know this, but now he might come back.
Yeah, we didn't have an edge.
But you knew about it.
You did know or you didn't know?
I don't think we knew about Edge.
Yeah, you
I'm pretty
did.
sure
Eli
Eli
mentioned
told
that.
you. I'm pretty sure Eli told you guys when.
Yeah, Danny,
Edge-
you were there, but we talked about it. So
Yeah, it was a while
we
ago.
know more than you
Look,
do.
I think I was just recovering of the fact that it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's John Tan. I wasn't particularly worried about him coming back to the game.
Savage.
With the amount of other people that are in that game, physically,
Someone go and check on John
strategically,
Tan.
was not the person I was worried about coming back.
I think it's fine. I like being surprised. I was surprised. It's not something Canberra has done before. What do you guys think it is? Is it going to be, are we looking at an edge of extinction? Are we looking at a bit of a redemption island? What do you think it's going to be?
Surely not Redemption Island. There's not enough
Yeah,
time
it'd be more of an edge.
Edge of extinction.
Because that also takes a lot crew-wise to be able to like set up a proper redemption island and do battles and that sort of stuff. So it depends. It would depend on what capacity they're willing to give to that.
Well, I don't know about the crew, but I know that Canberra has a lot of supporters, and I think by the time it's rolling into season 3, it would probably have a pretty big crew.
Yes.
And the one show that we're yet to cover in the ORCA Rank Down that did a Redemption Island style was Backyard 4. And the reason why it worked so well is because firstly, they had the crew, but secondly, because they have 2 hosts, they just assigned one host to the redemption aspects, and the other host carried out the rest of the game. So it made the day flow. We've got 2 hosts here again. Maybe they're looking to adopt the similar concept.
I mean, it'd be fun. I would enjoy that.
These hosts have their banter, and I love it. I don't want them separate.
And Edge of Extinction, though, does sound like Swamp of Sadness. Like there's an alliterative.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're like doing anything exciting in the Swamp of Sadness.
It's you are
biding their time.
Well, it'll be interesting to find out. I haven't watched the Next Time On. Has anyone watched that? That might even tell us.
I don't remember.
No one's jumping in the chat either, so it might be a secret. What do we think would happen if we just jump in? If Rando Bird Tribe goes back to Tribal Council, who do we think is going next?
Aiden.
Jenny?
I'm just trying to think who's making the names. I mean, Aiden's in trouble.
So we had Aiden, John, and Squin in an alliance of 3. And then we had.
It depends on because Quinn has a good relationship with the other 3 girls. It would depend on that. I'm interested to see how Quinn navigates that. Does she? I mean, she's the 4th out of them, but she's not out of the loop with the 4 of them, like the 3 of them.
I think that they're quite different sorts of people.
Yeah,
I think we're pushing them together because they're women, I do think that Squin is a very different sort of person to the other 3. Like Squin is, pure positivity, and Bethany, described herself in her thing as a bit of
I think, I actually think I think it could be Squin or Aiden. I think Squin could be in trouble there.
I think Squin is if Eden wants to take a swing, I could see it being someone other than Aiden, because Aiden's sort of always going to be available to be taken out, whereas John and Squin are probably more threatening. You'd also be interested to see if John and Squin try to bring someone over into their alliance.
That was my thought. I was like, does Squin try to then finagle the girls to try to pull across to her and John?
It's going to be difficult when Anthea gets the advantage. They all helped Anthea get the advantage. They're going to share what the advantage is.
That's a bonding experience, yeah.
John and Squin don't have this knowledge, neither does Aiden, but I do feel that's going to make it very difficult to bring someone over. You'd also want to bring over the rogue voter, because obviously at one point someone actually voted with you to make it 4-4. But that person is Eden, and Eden's interested in that. So I think that they'll have a lot of trouble. What do you think would happen at a yellow vote if they, ever go to Tribal Council, which they probably won't?
We didn't get enough into the
if they'd gone to her first vote, Lauren would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
Agree.
Just
Is
based
anyone-
on Anthony's rallying of people.
I'm predicting an early swap.
Okay.
Has anyone? Let's just put that to one side because I'm asking for who would get voted out at yellow. Has anyone
No.
formed strong bonds with Lauren that would save her? Do we think?
No.
No.
Andrew was throwing her under the bus real quick.
People seem to be getting behind that. Oscar
Mhm.
Oscar likes Andrew, which we
Yeah.
thought was possible. Ed and Sabrina are together. I could see Ed and Andrew not getting along at one point, but I think Ed said something quite positive about Andrew in one of his confessionals. So I think Andrew's going to call the shot. Ed, Sabrina, they're going to go along with it. So will Oscar, and then ultimately, everyone else will fall in line because no one. And this is the most important thing that we've talked about on this plenty of times. People will have a reason for voting you out. They'll come up with something. Andrew's coming up with this note thing. But if there was someone there or two people there that you'd really connected with, they would push back against it and say, well, no, we don't want to vote for them because, whatever. And that allows the vote to potentially change. But when someone throws out a reason, it's a half decent reason and it makes everyone else safe and no one cares about saving you, then you are in some trouble.
Correct. Yeah.
But the reason I say early swap, I think we're going to get black going back to another tribal and then we're swapping. I don't think yellow is going to a tribal in this group of 8. That's
Dan didn't rig it so
with no information.
Dan didn't rig it so that Canberra were the strongest fucking tribe we've ever seen in LRG, just to swap them out after 2 votes.
Yeah, swap them out so they're in an advantage in both tribes.
See
See you later, the world.
The world is dead.
You've come
Long
from
live
New
Canberra.
Zealand,
And
you've
Canberra
come from
survives.
Melbourne, you've come from down the road in Sydney, but fuck yous all.
I love it. There was a comment from Sam in the chat that the Yellows were going hard with their own strat chat, notwithstanding that they were. I presume Sam knows this because he was crewing or something.
Yes, he could, yeah.
The Yellow. How did he then go on that show? Like super
He's
spoiled.
only like a guest host. He's not an actual host.
I know, but how can you provide unabridged commentary or something? You know what happens.
I'm sorry.
Because it's Sam Green.
Who's going to be running the coverage of Melbourne for?
Yeah, I am, but I have the capability of doing it.
But Sam Green doesn't.
Yeah,
I feel like you're going to be a little more nuanced than Sam Green.
No, it's not so much that. It's because, well, I didn't watch the program, and I don't want to get into a fight about who's the programs, but I would be hosting, so I can just throw questions out to people.
Okay.
Whereas
No, Sam did
if you're as a
season 4,
guest,
sorry.
people are asking you
Sam did
questions, and then
season
it's
4.
difficult.
He crewed season 4, not season 3.
He
He didn't crew.
Did not crew
Sophie's
one.
here. Hello, Sophie. We loved you. Welcome to country. That was fantastic. Also, do you want to see Sophie's Facebook photo? She seems to be lifting a shitload of weight with a
She
deadlift.
looks like a fucking weapon, and I'm
You
here
guys
for
see
her.
this picture?
Yeah, I've seen it. She
I
looks
could probably outlift her, to
incredible.
be fair.
How many kgs were you deadlifting there, Soph? Just how much can you deadlift, Jules?
My record for 1 rep is 135.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Ask me to lift 5 reps. No good. 1 rep.
Let's get.
2
I want
reps,
a
maybe.
Jules versus Sophie. Oh, she's
Let's
done
go.
160. Ooh,
All right,
that was
all right.
Really? Get it,
impressive,
girlfriend.
Sophie. Super impressive.
I will.
Um,
I will concede.
Right, Jules is going to be working up. She's going to be hitting the gym. She's going to. Oh, she's 175.
Oh,
It's on. It's on.
You are a weapon, Sophie. Fuck yeah.
Jules is going to be hitting
I think we
the
need that.
gym, getting those quads and those hamstrings strong, and we'll have a showdown between Sophie and Jules. Who is the strongest deadlifter? No, we love that, Sophie. I never would have seen Sophie as like that, from watching her in Canberra too. She was a beast in the season, but I didn't get the impression she was out there just deadlifting
No.
hundreds of kilos.
Well,
You learn
well,
something
she
every
was.
day by looking. You learn something everything by looking at people's Facebook pictures. Well, we've called our predictions for next week. The draft, I'm looking good. Danny's looking good. Jules, not so much. What do we think?
It's all about the winner. I've got the final 3.
No, that's not how we're scoring it. Did you not watch the show?
I know. Look, I did. I can't remember what you said. There was shit about points and idols, and I don't know. There was a lot in there. I'm still gonna win.
Here we
She
go. She doesn't start powerlifting until after season 2. So she wants a rematch with Nick.
It'd be amazing if see
I would
Sophie
love
come
to
back
see that.
actually now. It's just like beast mode Sophie. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different scoring system. So no good. You're going to get well, like 8 points from that though. So but it all depends if he comes back. I gotta work it all out with this thing. So
You gotta
anyway,
work it out.
starting with you. How are we looking though for the People's Champion top 3? Do we think my money is in danger, or do we think the money is out the pocket?
I think you're actually fine, because I think he's going to be too much of a power player, and they won't. I know they let Ma get to the end, which was questionable, but I don't think they're going to let Eden get anywhere near.
Different type of personality though. Ma was
He's
very
gonna be-
understated and she
exactly.
ran
He
rings
is
around
gonna be-
people like
Ma can charm you. Eden can charm you too, but he's going to be out. Final 6.
Yeah, my concern is he can certainly make the final 5, and I think just that point, let's say you've got someone like Ed around, a Sabrina, and Thea. Maybe you've found about Anthea's cancer survival story. Like, Eden just becomes like, is anyone actually going to vote for Eden to win? Like, he's going to annoy people throughout the game just with his behavior, with his power play, and I love it. But it's, like, it's just like me in Melbourne, right? If I'd gotten a bit further, I'd probably make the end because no one was going to vote for me to win. Like, I feel like Eden could be in that situation if he can get to that final 5 or final 6. And I do think he can really get to final 5 or final 6. So I feel like the money is half out the door.
I also think he's going to come into merged, not in the numbers.
Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah, no.
When does it ever help to go in with numbers?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a Pagongi. It's very much Canberra versus the world. It's us versus them. It's they're all believing in that.
What was the word on the street? That this was a good season or a bad season? Because if it's Pagonning, it can't. Like it. If it's a good season, it can't be.
I haven't heard.
I don't think I've heard. I don't think I know.
Yeah. Snyder's here. Snyder's been
Snyder.
racing in the Maverick Cup. Welcome, Snyder. You've done a lot of races you had, I think there were 62 cars racing, and you had a great race. Well done. That's enough. Well done, Snyder. Well done, Dani and Jules. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week for the coverage of Canberra versus the world. I'm really excited this Friday night to get into it. Thank you, Jules, for coming. And even a little bit late, but, we forgive you. We love you.
Better late than never.
Well, particularly as you had all the notes. And thank you, Dani, for joining us as always as well. We thank you, everyone who was here live in the comments. We love having your live commentary.
Yeah, who's up there now? Because we had Lauren last week, and so we've had Anthea and we had Pauline. The ladies are representing.
We stand the ladies. You have the all support of ORCAs behind you. Thank you, of course, though, to anyone that watches the show after. We know many of you do. We appreciate that. We appreciate you supporting our show. The Backbenchers podcast, of course, if you watch that, nothing wrong with watching 2 podcasts. And, also watching Canberra and supporting it, watching live. We love the community. We love all of you supporting us. Thank you. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.